So, what is a systems approach to food safety? Well, it is a matrix of food laws, regulations, codes, and standards that provide the legal framework for food safety programming. And regulations and standards established through laws and enforced by various agencies must serve as the minimum standards for the food safety programs. Now, a food safety plan itself is just the operational control. It's not really much. For example, a menu could serve as this food service operation. It's just a formal documentation that shows what they're serving and what ingredients are in the meal, and it's just that restaurant's way or corporation's way of showing legally and on a document what the things on the menu are, what's being served, and what's included in those things. So that's one way to plan your food safely. That's usually where the plans start, is the menu planning process system. So, a regulation is an authoritative directive and a legal restriction set forth or promulgated by a government group. This just means that different levels of government, federal, state, local, mostly local is usually what keeps the laws set forth and keeps them straight and is the ones who are in charge of maintaining those laws. They're done through branches and agencies. For example, the USDA is one of these agencies that establishes food safety rules and regulations. You see them a lot with when it comes to school nutrition programs, and when you see them, sometimes you'll see them on commercials and be like USDA approved, or the USDA is just one of the biggest known established agencies when it comes to nutrition in this day and time. So, the first Food Act was in 1906, and that was the Pure Food Act, and it mandates that food be wholesome and safe for human consumption. So that food that is not safe or wholesome cannot be served under any law to consumers in America, because that would just make us sick, and why would we want to be sick? We wouldn't. So another regulation code law is the Food Code, which was first developed in 1993 by the FDA, another well-known agency in nutrition, for example. They also cooperated with the USDA, and they set a good standard for the food safety. It's not a law or a regulation, but it's just guidance and consideration for the regulatory responsibility for food service, retail, and vending operations. This code is constantly being updated to provide the latest and best information to prevent foodborne illness. A lot of things that are included in this are time, temperature control, and safe hand washing. You'll always see when you go to restaurants those signs in the bathroom that say employees must wash hands. It usually has a diagram under it with pictures of how long they should wash their hands and what it should look like. Like, they should scrub them for this amount of time and do this, and that's one of the regulations that's set forth by the Food Code. And they have to do that. And more than 30 states in the United States use this food code, and it is mandated that they have to use this food code. And this code also promotes the HACCP as the best available system for assurance of food safety. And this system, the HACCP, is updated every 4 years, and supplements are released every 2 years as guidelines. And they are also revised to keep the food system prevention of foodborne illnesses and to keep the food safety systems updated and mandated, so if something else comes along, then we as Americans and citizens and just other people all over the world can know like what we need to do and what we should update and what we should change in our habits to keep us like safe and our bodies up to date on those being the safest that we can and the most taking the most precautions that we can and just fighting bacteria, keeping it clean, keeping things how they should be, keeping things at the right temperature, just everything that food safety should have to do. And that's what the food systems approach to food safety is about.